the show. It's your boy, Ben Humble here. Today, we've got a pretty amazing conversation for you guys. So hopefully you're dialed in. You're ready to roll with me here. What does it take to do 4,000 deals? What does it take to do 20, 30, 40, 50 deals a month? Today's the show for you guys if you're ready to scale it up. So you guys ready at home? Ready to roll with me? I want to bring on my man, Mr. Matt Larson in the house. The dude has created a multi-million-dollar portfolio. So Matt, welcome, man. Welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right, man. So, dude, I'm excited. Like, we got together. I think it was last year. I came down to Iowa and checked out your office in operation, Matt. And I was super impressed, right? Like, super impressed. In fact, most of our mastermind guys came and they were like, dude, this is a phenomenal operation. So maybe walk us through, man, your journey a little bit and just tell us, because 4,000 deals, everybody has a whole bunch of questions for you, right? Like how, where, when did you start, all this kind of stuff. Walk us through, how does a man accumulate that many deals? What do you need to go through to get there?
Well, so, I mean, I don't know how far back you want me to go. You kind of lead me. Do you want me to want to know how I got into real estate and start from that level?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's, like, when you started real estate, how long it took you and this kind of thing, just to give people a sense of, you know, what kind of things you had to go through. And then how do you arrive at this kind of business, right?
Okay. So, you know, I grew up in a small town in Illinois and, 3,700 people. I had 81 kids in my graduating class, and everybody in the town that I grew up in, nobody was really wealthy. It wasn't a very wealthy town. I mean, most of the houses, the nicest houses were probably worth $200,000. We lived in the worst part of town, in the little ghetto of that town. And I grew up, I grew up pretty poor. My parents went through a phase where we were on food stamps. But the crazy thing is I did not have, my parents didn't have any interest in real estate. In fact, my dad used to tell me, don't ever buy your own house. Always rent, because if something breaks, you don't have to fix it. So we grew up with a very poor mentality, and that's tough to overcome. So, I mean, it was bad enough that, if one of my friends went to go buy a house to live in, I would literally sit them down and try to talk them out of it, at that point in my life. So after high school.
How old were you how old were you at that age when you had that kind of mindset, limiting beliefs?
All the way growing up, all the way through.
All the way. Okay.
Through all the way until about 30 years old. But I'll back up. So yeah. What my parents did, so we didn't have any money to go on vacations or eat out or anything. So one of the things that we did on the weekends was just go for Sunday drives. My parents to this day still do this.
It's awesome.
But we would go for a drive, and we would drive into a bigger area, a bigger city, and we'd drive by houses that were not super nice, but so much nicer than what we were living in. I would ask questions. So we would drive by these $200,000 houses, and I'd ask my dad, how does somebody afford a house that nice? I just couldn't figure it out. Yeah. And he'd always said the same thing. They inherited the money. And so that's, I didn't know that you could create income at that time of my life. This is all the way through high school into college. I did not know you could create income. I thought you got a job and whatever you make, that's the money you have. I didn't know that there was a self-help section at the library. I'd never heard of like self-help books. So I get done with high school. I don't know what I want to do. I know I don't like school at all. I did not like homework, and I just didn't like school in general. I didn't get good grades, but somehow, some way, I wanted to play football bad enough. So I went to a small Division III school, had no interest in the school part, just wanted to play football. Long story short, after one semester, my grade point average was so low that I ended up, they asked me not to come back. So at this point, I'm 19 years old. I come back home, and my dad's like, you got to get a job. And he was very big on you never let 1 minute of the day go by without working. And he's like, if you want to make more money, you work more hours. If you want to make more money, you don't take a vacation. You cash your vacation in and take the money. If you want to make more money, work every holiday that you can so you can get double time. And so there was a local machine shop in the town I grew up in. And my dad, I come back home from college after failing after that first semester, and he's like, go down to that machine shop. They're always hiring. So I get a job in that machine shop, making $6 an hour, and I do that job until 30 years old. And so, again, I just didn't know I didn't know you could make money. I didn't know you could be an entrepreneur. I thought those people were kind of born that way. So,
so you thought it was kind of luck growing up. So your dad knew how to work. He knew how to push you to work and trade time for money, but you didn't have that mindset of you could go and create something. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
And a very hard worker. Like I was one of those guys. I had the mindset. Nobody could outwork me. Didn't matter what it was. As long as it's something physical, I would work until I'm dead if I had to beat anybody. That's always been my mindset. So he instilled amazing work ethic. He just didn't know. It's not his fault. He just did not know how to create money. So he didn't know what advice to give me. So long story short, I just always thought that I would never have money. My dad always said, "Hey, you're never gonna live long enough to pay off your house. So don't buy one. You're never gonna live long enough to pay off a car, but you need a car to go to work. So make sure you have good credit." So I'm going through life. I'm at 26 years old. I meet this girl. We start dating. And by the time I was 30, now I'd never thought about money. It just didn't cross my mind. It just wasn't something that I thought. I just thought whatever I work, that's what I get. So at 30 years old, I'm dating this girl. We'd been dating for about 4 years. And she comes up to me one day and she says, "Hey, I want to break up." And I'm like, "Okay, why?" She says, "Because I want to date somebody with status." Whoa. She's like, "I want to date somebody that makes money." And I tell you, that was the first time in my life that I thought about make money. I got to freaking figure out how to make money. I just lost this girl, and I was madly in love. This girl was like kind of my world.
We came to Canada in 1991 with nothing but a will to thrive. They risked everything they had, left behind everyone they knew.
The only way out of the country was illegal, and the risk was huge.
I adopted the mindset that my parents had of faith and vision for my life. You see, they helped me understand that you get to decide what happens in this world. By the age of 30, I became a millionaire. I refused to accept scarcity, limiting beliefs, or someone else's excuses. So you want to know what the secret is? People ask me all the time, what's the secret? You want to know what it's going to take for you to succeed? Here's the truth.
And so all of a sudden I had a really big reason to learn how to make money. And let me tell you, my motivation level was high, but I just didn't know. I just didn't. And I'm up late one night. I was so stressed out. I was listening to how to overcome stress. I think it was cassette tapes. I don't even think this was a CD at this time. But I would come home every night and listen to this how to deal with stress deal, because I'm going through this breakup. I'm just sick over the whole thing. I got to figure out how to make money. And so I'm up late one night and I see an infomercial. And this infomercial is like, "Hey, you can make money with real estate, no money down. You don't need any money. You don't need any credit." And so I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And now I probably had seen that infomercial a million times over, but my mind wasn't open to it. So to me, it was the first time I probably ever saw it. So it was like $39. I get out my credit card. I buy the book. It comes to my I was living in I paid $275 a month for rent at this time. This is 15 years ago, almost 15 years ago. Okay. I'm paying $275 per month. This apartment's only 300 square feet. If I stretched my arms out across, I could almost touch the white.
I'm gonna drop that. There you go. That's how small I was.
I'm sitting there, I read this book and I just can't get enough of it. I read it and I reread it and I reread it. And I'm like, I'm in. And long story short, I'm a worker, and I was so naive. The reason I was successful was, one, I'm willing to do the work, and two, I was naive enough to not even question whether or not it worked. Right. I just did the work, followed the steps, and got a result. And within 30 days, I did my first no money down deal. And
what was that book called? What was that book called?
It was a book by Dean Graziosi.
Okay.
It was like Be a Real Estate Millionaire. And okay. You read that book and it's a lot of stories.
Yep.
And I related to the stories. I related to, I liked the stories. I kind of like learning through stories. It's just kind of the way I absorb stuff.
Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble, featuring daily episodes of the Humble Podcast and weekly video content providing motivation, real estate strategies, and personal development for everyday life. Also, follow Ben on Facebook and Instagram for daily interactions. Check out humble.ceo and download a chapter of Ben's new book, From Communism to Capitalism, absolutely free.
Okay.
So
let me jump in for a second because I want to recap and then ask a question at this point, if it's cool. So basically, up until the age of 30, you know how to work hard, but don't believe that it's even possible to create wealth, which is such an amazing thought process. Because when you guys hear the rest of Matt's story, it's just phenomenal how this ties in. I don't even know if you planned it like this, but I mean, it's beautiful. So up until the age of 30. So for people who get stuck like, oh my God, I'll never get there, whatever, you hadn't even thought about creating real wealth until 30 years old. So what's amazing is that, you know, it took you so long, but then when it did, dude, the first thing you did was buy a book by Dean Graziosi. And that's significant. And why don't you keep telling us the story, why that's significant? Because I know where the story goes, and it's such a beautiful thing. We're going to make a movie out of this, but keep going, man, because it's a beautiful story here. So I just wanted people to resonate with that for a second. 30 years, you didn't even think it was possible. So if that's you, hey, it's okay. But keep going, man. This gets better.
So I start doing deal. I do one deal a month for the first 12 months after I read the book. I do one deal a month.
One book, and you did a deal a month.
Yeah. Now I signed up for, so part of the story, I don't know if I told you this part. So I don't know, a month in or something, they called me up and they're like, hey, do you want to do this phone coaching? Well, we'll have a real estate investor call you once a week for 30 minutes and coach you. So I signed up for some coaching. It was like, I don't know, $3,700 is what I paid. And I to me, if it didn't work, that was all the money in the world. Like I would never be able to pay it back at the amount of money I was making. If it just had to work. So I was very motivated. I spent money for coaching, and all the coaching was 12 phone calls for half an hour, nothing on the computer, nothing like we're talking here and you can see the other person, literally somebody reading from a script, teaching me and keeping me motivated. So, so I do the 12 months, I do a deal a month. Second year in, I do 10 deals out of the 12 months. I gave myself an excuse 2 of the months that I was burnt out and that I needed to take a small break. I don't know why.
When you're doing these deals, man, were they like flips, or what kind of deals were these that you're doing one a month on?
Well, I was doing a little bit of everything. I did a couple of flips in there. I did go back 15 years. The financing world was a little bit different back then. You could get loans much easier, maybe like it is now, probably a little easier than it is now, but it was easy to get loans. And I did have good credit because that was something that my dad always taught me to protect. Okay. So I had good credit. So I would do some loans, but I was doing a couple of partner up deals where I'd put up no money and they would put up the down payment, and then we would do a deal and either I would refinance it and he'd get his money back plus like extra, or we would flip it and we would split it. So I did lease option deals where I put no money down, lease option, took over payments, then did a flip and fixed it and sold it. I did all kinds. I mean, I was very creative with all the deals that I was doing. And so second year in, I got, like I said, did 10 deals. Then third year in, I get I'm still doing a ton of deals. I think the third year I did another 12 or 14 deals. Okay. And I get a package in the mail, and this package was a video camera. Now this is back before cell phones had cameras on them. Like cell phones having cameras only for all you young guys. That's only been around for like 10 years. This is 15 years ago. Sure. So they send me this camera, and they say, hey, you know, because I was kind of communicating with them. Anytime I did a deal, I'd share it with them. And so what they did, they decided to run a contest. And this contest was whoever wins this contest, whoever they pick as their winner, gets an all expenses paid vacation to the Caribbean. Now, I had never taken a vacation at this point.
You've never been to Caribbean?
Never been.
Okay.
I don't think I'd ever been on a plane, maybe once. Okay. So all of a sudden, I'm like so busy. I just don't really have time. And I finally said, okay, I'll just do this 3-minute video. We drove around a bunch of properties I flipped, did a quick 30 seconds in front of each one. At that time I had done, like I said, 30 deals. And I sent it in to him, not thinking I had a chance to win. And I just really didn't know. I wasn't really involved. This is before Facebook, really. I wasn't involved in social media. I just kind of kept to myself and worked. I didn't have anybody to talk to because all my friends thought I was an idiot for flipping all these houses, and they all thought I was going to go broke and all this stuff. So I send in the camera. The next thing I know, they're like, hey, you are narrowed down to the top 5. And I still didn't think I had a chance. Like, I've never won anything at this point. I've never been a winner. So anyway, next thing I know, they call me and they like, you just won this vacation. You're top student.
That's awesome.
So they call me and they're like, hey, we need to schedule your trip. We want to book your tickets and get you on this trip. You can take 3 of your friends, blah, blah, blah. And I don't call them back. They call me back and I just kind of push it off. And finally they said, hey, are you going to take this vacation or what? Like 6 months had gone by. And I said, yeah. I said, here's the deal. I just said, the vacation sounds amazing. And I greatly appreciate the fact that you're offering this to me, but could I just trade the vacation in for dinner with Dean?
By the way, if you guys are interested in real estate investing and you are in Canada, I wrote a book here called Real Estate Secrets Exposed. Learn how to actually make money virtually, which is cool, from the comfort of your home. Yes, it is possible if you understand the value and how to do wholesaling. And if you don't know anything about wholesaling, you need to grab this book. It's absolutely free. There's no page numbers. There's nothing else in there. It's just ready to go, though. Humble.co to grab your free copy.
And
this is Dean Graziosi, right?
Yeah.
So just to recap real quick, you bought the book, you hired a mentor, you had 12 weeks of training on the mentorship. You started doing a deal a month, which, by the way, this is such a whimsical story. You almost can't even make this stuff up, because what I love about your story, Matt, is it's like a normal guy. It's just like he's not even trying. And then in life, all of a sudden he never wins. Then he finally wins. It's almost fairy tale like. You don't even claim the prize. Then eventually you just say, hey, can I just get a dinner with Dean Graziosi, the writer of that book? All right. So this is great, folks. If you follow this journey, it gets awesome. So keep going. And what do they say?
They think I'm crazy. They think, like, who gives up a whole vacation? We're talking first class tickets, like everything, for a dinner with Dean. But they said, we'll ask him and we'll see if he'll agree to it. So they did. And he agreed. And so I fly out, I meet Dean. We have dinner. I'm scared to death. Like, I'm super nervous. I've never met anybody like that before. And long story short, we end up partnering on some deals. So we started doing some deals together.
Love it.
For a short time, maybe like 3 years or so. But it gave me a confidence boost. It was like, hey, this guy thinks I'm good, so maybe I really am. I didn't really know at that point. So all I know.
And by partner, what do you mean? Like, was he bringing money and you were finding deals, or what do you mean by partnership?
So he would bring the cash in. We would typically finance the deal. He would bring in a down payment, put up the rehab money. We would own it 50-50, but I did all the work. I found the house. I lined up contractors. I lined up property management. I did everything on the side. He literally just had to write a check.
Got it.
And I started wondering, we did a lot of deals together. We probably did a couple hundred together. And but at the same time, I was still doing some wholesaling to other investors. I just kind of gave Dean first right of refusal. Hey, do you want this one? Okay, you don't. Okay, I'm going to go wholesale it over here. So let me back up a minute. So 2008 hits. So I start November 10th, 2005. I did my very first deal.
Okay.
And I set a goal that day. I wrote it down. I kept my goals on a 3x5 card. I folded them in half. I put them in my front pocket. I looked at them every single day. And I also did another goal, 3x5 card that I taped right above my light switch in my bedroom. So I get up in the morning, I can't see. My eyes are burning from staying up too late the night before, studying and learning and reading books. I flip on the light. First thing it sees reminds me of my goal. So I set a goal to do to be done with my job on November 10th, 2008. And I set that goal in 2005. And I'll never forget, I had no idea. In 2005, we're at the hottest real estate market in the history of the United States. And I had no idea that 3 years later exactly would be November 10th, 2008. It would be the worst recession in the United States since the Great Depression. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I started getting scared, and I was thinking about wimping out and not hitting my goal. And
what was your goal at the time? Did you have a specific measurable goal there?
I just wanted enough cash flow coming in that I could pay for my expenses and I wouldn't need my job, which for me, that number was about $5,000 a month. At that time in my life, I lived cheap. I didn't spend a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of flash or anything like that. But I knew that with $5,000 a month positive after all expenses paid, I'm free. Awesome. I can live and do what I want. And then if I wholesale a house here and there on top of that, that's just extra cash, which is what I was doing.
Okay.
So long story short, I'm like a month or two out, and I was the idiot.
What do you mean?
I told everybody my goals
all the time.
If I was standing in line to pay for gas at the gas station, I'd tap you on the shoulder. Hey man, I want to let you know I do real estate, and in 3 years I'm retiring from my job. I told everybody, which is do not like you.
What did that do for you? I'm gonna drop. What was that?
Do not do that at home.
What did that do for you? Because right now you can look at it and laugh, but some people are scared to death to tell people what they do. Is that now looking back on it, was it a helpful thing what was the positive outcome of you telling people? We know the negative. What's the positive?
Let me tell. So first of all, nobody believed me. In fact, when I told one of my best friends at the time, he goes, Matt, I am so sick and tired of hearing about real estate. He goes, I get it. He goes, I get it that people make money in real estate. I just don't think you can do it. Dude. And I just never forget that day. But I had that conversation with a lot of people. I'll never forget. I was at my insurance office early on in 2005, and I'm doing insurance on my property. I just got my first couple properties or something. And I tell the girl at the reception desk, I'm waiting to talk to the agent. I'm sitting at the reception desk, and I'm telling the girl, listen, this is my first or second deal. I can't remember, but I was like, I'm going to be retired in 3 years. Like, I'm going to keep doing these. And she's like being really nice. Yeah, that was great. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Well, 2 years later, she leaves that job and she goes to work for the city of that town. And I walk in and I forgot. I mean, I told everybody that I was leaving my job and I was retiring in 3 years. And so 2 years later, I see her. She worked in the water department at that town. Well, now she doesn't have to be nice. When I was at the insurance agent, she had to be nice. Yeah. Now I walk in, she starts making fun of me and the place is busy. She starts making fun of me. Hey, Matt, you retired from your job yet? Just laughing and making fun of me. And I was like, no, I told you it was going to be 3 years and it's only been 2. So
that's awesome.
So time keeps going on and we're getting closer and I'm sweating bullets because I'm like, the economy's dropping. I told everybody I'm leaving my job in 3 years. And I know that people were writing it down. Like they were keeping track because I would run into them and they would ask me. And so the thing that broke, I was going to wimp out about a month out. And I told myself, it's too risky. There's too much going on. The stock market's in half. Real estate market's plummeting. It's too risky. I got to cling to my job. I'm staying in my job and we'll ride this thing out and I'll keep doing real estate a little bit on the side like I'm doing right now. And so a buddy of mine, a good friend of mine with true, like this guy wasn't calling me to make fun of me. He was calling me to keep me accountable. So about a month out, and I had probably told him 2 years prior to this, he calls me up. He goes, hey, Matt, how's it going? Good. He goes, hey, crazy world out there right now with the stock market plummeting and real estate market down. I'm like, yeah. He goes, I wanted to just follow up. Are you still planning on leaving your job in about a month? And it was like, I've told too many people. I can't back out now. So I'm like, yep, I'm doing it. So November 7th, 2008, I call my boss. And I'm like, hey, I'll give you a couple of days notice if you need it, but I really want this to be my last day. So I ended up, I hit my goal 3 days early. I leave my job. 2008's hitting. Properties are crashing. I go now, all of a sudden, I have all my time. Instead of doing real estate in nights and weekends, I have all my time. I plow into it as hard as I can. And 4 years later, I own 450 houses. I have massive cash flow. And I got million plus cash liquid into my bank account.
Come on, man. Liquid. Dude, you fired me up. I got to drop a bomb to that. Let me just jump back for a second. I want you to keep going here. This is the most relevant conversation I've had on this show to today's market. The most relevant because, folks, how many people are sitting at home right now completely scared, afraid. The real estate markets is in tumultuous times. The stock market has dropped significantly and people have lost tons of money. And the correlation is exactly in the same kind of mindset framework. Matt decides, he made a decision. Listen to the level of resolve. He said, I chose to do it and I cannot turn back. In a way, you burn the ships mentally. And the fact that you got accountability by telling people your goals, the fact that you bought the book, got the mentorship, you traded your vacation, you traded your comfort for one dinner. That dinner led to a business relationship, which I'm sure helped with more mentorship as part of you doing more deals. And as a result of that, you actually hit and committed and completed that goal, 3 days shy of what you said you would. If some people would look at you and say, dude, that is lucky. You got lucky, man. So lucky, bullcrap lucky. And I read the book Tipping Point. And if you read that book, you understand that a person who just stays in a level of preparation, when the timing hits, what a chance is, everybody has the same chance, now becomes an opportunity. But you had to commit and resolve to that. And you had to say, I'm in this. I'm not going back. So, dude, so critical to right now. So a lot of folks are feeling the same kind of sentiment that you felt back then. But I want you guys to tie your thought process to Matt's story. Matt's story is probably one of the most relevant stories I've had because it's the same. So keep going, man, because now you're giving them a solution. Now they know, like, oh, crap, this sounds like me right now. What did you do from there, man?
So at that point now, I mean, I went from a nobody in my town to I'm the top guy. I'm doing more deals than anybody. And it was
in
fun.
4 years. You said in 4 years?
In 4 years, I made my move and went from the bottom to the top. I'll never forget in 2008, I had some contractors working for me and I was paying them cash. I was still new to this point. I'd only done about 30 deals or so. And I was paying them cash. And finally, my accountant said, Matt, you cannot pay people cash anymore. You have to start. This is a real business you're running. Yeah. So I tell these guys, I'm like, hey, I got bad news for you. I got to start doing things right. And I can't pay cash anymore. Every single one of them quit. There's 8 or 9 guys on this one crew. They did all my houses for me. They all quit. And I'm like, my business is gone overnight. I call my buddies and I'm like, you got to come over and help me. I got to finish these houses. And I'm trying to look for people and the world's crazy. So the cool thing is that guy came back to me a year later and he goes, Matt, I got to come back to you with my tail between my legs. He goes, I need a job. He said, so now we're in 2009. He goes, I've literally called over 100 investors, everybody I knew that I could think of. I called and asked them if they had any work, and all of them said no. And the crazy thing is, they all said, you got to go talk to Matt Larson. So that just goes to show you, everybody was out. Everybody was in 07, 08, late 07, early 08. People are in. It's the bit. It's cool. Real estate's the coolest thing on the planet. Everybody's doing it. It's easy money. It's this, it's that. And then the market crashes. Everybody's gone. I'm the last man standing. But my business model worked because I'm buying for cash flow. I'm not buying for appreciation. My rents went up in 2009. My rents went up 15% in 1 year across the board. So I'm buying, and now I have massive momentum. And I had to refigure out all the banks. Getting bank loans before was not the same. They told me, no, you can't, Matt, we can't do any more of these loans for you. Okay, great. So I literally went back to the drawing board and figured out how to get loans from banks, figured out the new formula and did what the banks needed me to do. And instead, what the cool thing is, and it's happening right now. I mean, I'm having conversations very similar with my bankers right now as I was in 2008. But what happened was the bankers stopped doing business with the people that were just dipping their toe in the water. They wanted to do business with people that were treating real estate like a business. Okay. So they wanted fewer customers and they wanted to drive deeper with those customers. Same thing that's happening right now. If you call your banks right now or call a bank and ask them to do a loan for you on a property and you don't have any relationship with that bank, they will tell you no. We don't have time to file the paperwork. We don't have time to fill out your application. We don't have enough people on staff to run the underwriting. You will likely not get a loan. However, if you're with that bank and you've already got a good relationship and you've got a proven track record, you can go deeper than you've ever gone. And they'll do more. I mean, I literally just had this conversation. Now, that doesn't mean that if you haven't done any deals, not to start making phone calls to banks if you need. I mean, you, Ben, of all people, know that you can always find somebody, but it's a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
So
let me ask you this. So you got a period of these 3 or 4 years. What kept you in the game, man? 2009, everybody's running away. By the way, the same time you were in the game, I was jumping in the game. I was a 25-year-old kid buying little houses for 25 grand. That was me. You would have been how old at that age, Matt?
In 2008, I was 33.
33. Okay, basically you're 33. I'm 25. What kept you in the game as a 33-year-old young guy when everybody's running away from real estate? I know what it was for me, but I'm curious, what was it for you, and what kind of deals were you doing? Were they buy and holds? Were they what kind of scenario was that?
I was making more money than I knew how to spend. I mean, it was like the money was flowing in. So when I left my job and I went full time, now I have all my time to work on deals. I ramped up my wholesaling. I was wholesaling houses like crazy. I ramped up my buy and holds. I was leveraging the banks, buying a property, buying it so cheap because the prices had fallen. I was making tons of offers, getting a few accepted, buying these houses really cheap. And then I would go to second bank and refinance, pull my cash back, maybe a little extra, and just repeat process as fast as I could. And so, and I was doing retail flips too. Believe it or not, back then I was doing retail flips on low end properties where starter home prices and I was selling them cheap. And I was pricing them to land where the market was going versus where the market was at.
Okay.
So I wasn't getting greedy. I was buying them, fixing up quickly, making them look nice. They're low end properties that we're talking $100,000 and reselling them, making 15, 20 grand.
It's back on MLS or something, like through a realtor?
Yeah, I was doing
okay.
And I never had a single one to go over 30 days. But the crazy thing is, what ruined me during doing flips back then was the very first one I tried in 2008. I buy this house. So I'll just tell you the timeline. I closed day 1, day 2 rehab starts, day 10 rehab's done because it wasn't in bad shape. These opportunities create massive opportunities to buy houses that are already nice. They might be missing the last 15, 20%. Yep. So I buy this house. 8 days, 9 days later, it's done. I relist it the next day. An offer came in by somebody that was going to live there, all cash. There are people that pay cash for houses that they're going to live there. And I bought day 1, day 2 rehab starts, day 10, 9 or 10 rehab was finished, listed day 11, goes under contract day 12. They close like day 18, 19, 20. And I made 50 grand.
Wow.
Net.
Wow.
My first
dude, that's a bomb. I gotta drop a bomb for that one. That's your very first deal.
Holy crap.
Did you lose your mind or what? Were you like, damn?
This is like I'm in. So okay. I started doing a ton, and now as luck would have it, that was just a really good first flip that year. Most of mine landed in that 10, 15, 20, $25,000 range, which is great. Sure. So I'm starting to make more money. I don't even know what to do with it. And I had a problem with money still. Like I still was that broke kid that would go on Sunday drives. Dad, how's that person, live in that house? Oh, they inherited. I still had not completely overcome that. So every time I would make money, I want to spend it. I got to get it out of my life. So I either put it into a real estate deal or buy a new Rolex, buy a Lamborghini, I have a Rolex collection that would make
how many Rolexes? How many?
They would make watch dealers envious. I mean, paid cash for a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And so I'm making a ton of money. That's one reason I was in, because a couple of things happened. One, I forgot about the girlfriend.
Okay.
And I had more girls at this point. I'm making so much money. Just stupidity, right? I was blowing on a cap.
Sure.
But I was making money at a time nobody had any money.
Right.
And so it felt good. And, I had some lessons learned. And luckily, by the time 2012 hit, I got a lot of that out of my system, and I started saving massive amounts of cash, right. which enabled me to put $1 million plus in my bank account. And so I think that's what it was I was going so fast, but I was leveraging systems and people, which is some of the stuff that we want to talk about today. To the point where you came to my office, saw my operation last year in 2019. And, we've just built a massive operation, and now, if you fast forward, I've been in it almost 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
We do 20 to 30 house flips a month, every single month, like clockwork, have for a decade. And in my company, so we flip, 250 to 350 houses a year. I still have hundreds of houses in my portfolio, and I work less than 5 hours a week in my business. I'm not involved with the real estate business at all. It runs itself. I have automation set up everywhere, between human automation and actually software automation. And so
let's jump into this, because I'm going to drop a bomb on that first of all. Dude, this is a powerful conversation, folks, because now you got the whole story, okay? A guy starts basically from nothing, does this thing. When everybody's running away, he's Warren Buffett. When others are greedy, be fearful. When others are fearful, be greedy. Everybody's afraid. Matt runs towards the pain. He runs towards the discomfort. He says, forget it. I'm quitting my job. I'll figure this stuff out. 4 years, this guy's doing hundreds of deals, which is phenomenal to me, flipping them, all this kind of stuff, the tenacity, the determination. And then from there, like now you've done over 4,000 flips. Now I'm going to preface this, and I'm going to get into this. We've done a predictive index test. And if you guys have never done this stuff before, it helps you understand who you are intrinsically as a human, basically the way you think. There's 4 elements. There's the A, which is the assertiveness or the ambition level. There's the B, which is the relation to people and relationability. There's the low C or the high C, which is your degree of patience, which I have none. And then there's a high D, which is a degree of detail to details. So this is kind of it. I don't know what Hans is putting on the screen. There you go. Just a quick thing. I think Matt is a phenomenal operator, meaning that when I went to his place, folks, it was so clean, organized, detailed, and specific that I recognized, and I knew this before, he's the McDonald's. Listen to me. He's the McDonald's of real estate investors. When you walk into his operation, everything is labeled. Everything is organized. Everything is data and not drama, which is what this whole show is about. So, Matt, walk us through, dude, because I think your mind works differently. In the world of CEOs and COOs, I think you could do both, but I think you're an incredible probably COO if you wanted to be one, because you're so organized and detail-oriented. And I've got to know this about you. And I think that's probably a huge reason for your success is that you care about the details. You care about things being done right. And you don't get overly emotional about stuff. It just happens. Like, get it done, organize, systemize, next. And I think that's what it truly means to build versus living in chaos. So what do you do now, man? Like, walk us through maybe what that looks like for you, because I think that's such a critical piece. Give us a sense of what that looks like in your mind, and then what the operation kind of looks like.
So really now I'm all about, you hear the old, it's so funny because there's so many people, especially now, there's just so many people that talk real estate, and they know the lingo to say to make it sound like they sound cool and all that. And then there's a few of us that are actually doing a lot of deals. And I don't want this to sound cliche, but what I do is I work on my business, not in my business. So I see ideas. I listen to people. I ask questions. I find smart people. I spend a lot of money on my education. For example, in 2019, I spent $90,000 paying people to teach me how to do stuff. So, but what the difference is I actually take the stuff that I learn, and I'm a massive implementer. Just like you just said, detail-oriented, I'm a massive implementer. And luckily, I have an amazing team that helps me implement at a very fast clip. I mean, we learn something that afternoon, it's in play. So I'm really big on learning as much as I can, surrounding myself with this really, really smart people. And then I implement like crazy. If it's a good idea, we implement. Now, that doesn't mean every idea works. Some ideas I lose money on. That's okay. That's part of the learning process. But what we've done is, for example, I know one of the cool things that you liked when you came to my office was my warehouse. Mm-hmm. So I was at, here's how my mind thinks, and here's how I work on the business. So in 2016, I spent $2.2 million at one specific Lowe's store, just buying materials for my houses. Yep. And I go into, at that time, every once in a while, I would walk into the Lowe's store just to meet the store manager. We had kind of a friendship because I was their biggest customer. Yep. So in early 2017, I walk into this Lowe's store, and when I walked in, man, they came out of the woodwork. Like I spent a lot of money there. So this guy comes out of the woodwork, and he goes, "Hey man, how's it going?" I'm like, "Good." He goes, "Hey, got the 2016 numbers in." You spent 2.2 million with us. And he goes, hey, I just want to let you know, we really appreciate your business. That was 10% of our total annual sales for the year.
So one guy,
22 million in sales. I did 2.2. So I'm thinking, my first mind that comes to my mind is like, I need to get a better deal. So I asked him, I'm like, hey, I said, can we talk about like getting a better price for me? Because I'm basically paying the price right off the shelf. He goes, Matt, you don't have to worry about that. You walk into the store, our best price is already presented right on the shelf.
Sick.
And I'm thinking, no. So I was kind of, steam was coming out of my ears. Like, I'm spending a lot of money, and this guy just told me I'm one of his biggest customers, and I don't give, like, if you do a little kitchen remodel at your house that you live in, you come into Lowe's, I'm paying the same price for materials as you. And I had a problem with that. So I went back to my team. Now, we didn't have a warehouse at this time. We had a 5,000 square foot office, and that's it. So I come back to my team, and I'm like, hey, this is the story. I tell them the whole Lowe's stories. I'm like, I'm mad about it. I want a better deal. We have earned the right to get a better deal on materials. And my first mind is, we're going to create our own mini Lowe's. And everybody on my team, they're thinking, the cool thing is they thought I was crazy, but they'd never seen me proven wrong. So they thought they're kind of in, like, they're like, Matt, whatever Matt says, it always seems to come true, even if it's just a terrible idea. So, so I go to him and I said, we need a building. We're going to buy a bunch of materials. We're going to build some shelves, and we're going to see what happens, see if it works. So I said, I don't want to lose a ton of money if this idea is really stupid. So we found a 3,500 square foot office that we rented for $1,300 a month. And I was thinking, okay, it's a 1-year lease, $1,300 a month. If this idea is terrible and in 60 days we scrap it, I cut them a check for the rest of the year, I'm fine. Yeah. So we start, I take a girl from my accounting team and I put her in this warehouse, and I'm like, just here's our list of, we took all the invoices from Lowe's. Here they are. Call Wilmar, call HD Supply, call Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, everybody. I don't care. Call them direct, find manufacturers, start bidding product. And tell them that we'll put $100,000 of product on the shelf, and we'll do a 1-year commitment. And we'll buy it. You lock that price in for me for a year, and I'll buy it from you for a year. So we go through this. We have my carpenters, some of the guys that are working on my house, have come over, build shelving out of 2x4s and plywood, build up shelves, and I leave. And I don't come back for 30 days. I come back 30 days later, and the place is packed. Like, it's packed to the gills. This 3,500 square foot is so packed, you can't hardly walk in the building. And I'm like, what is going on in here? I said, this looks like chaos. And she goes, Matt, we just don't have any more room. We've only got through 400 SKUs, and we have 2,400 to do. And this is all we can fit. We don't have any more room. We need more space. And I'm like, okay, but are we saving money? She goes, we saved $40,000 this month on materials.
Wow.
So
Okay, keep going.
Long story short, we were buying materials out of the gate at 50% less than what they were off the shelf.
50%.
50%.
Dude.
So with our volume, it was a $40,000 a year savings right away. Now, not every product was 50%. Some of them were deeper, some of them were less, but it averaged out. So we're saving $40,000, but we still have more SKUs to do. So, so I leave there. I call my commercial broker, and I'm like, I need 15 to 20,000 square feet, and I need it fast. So we drive to my building that you went to, Ben, where I'm at right now. It's 18,000 square feet. I make an offer. Long story short, we close it in 30 days or so from then. So we move everybody in my building, and I'm like, okay, we need to be very detailed about this. So we build our own online store. Because I had this vision of, I want my contractors to log into my online store to pick the products they need in order to finish the rehab that they're on. And that way I could track everything. So long story short, I took a couple kids from my team. I call them kids because they're 18 years old. They built an online store from zero.
Yeah. And it's dope. It's dope. I've seen it. Yeah.
And then we created our own barcode system, and then we integrated everything through Podio and QuickBooks, so it all communicates together. So we know how much is on the shelf all the time. We know where everything's going, where it's heading, everything, and it's all coded through Podio. So we've been able to add a lot of automations to it too. Like, for example, and this has really come in handy too, because all this, with this quarantine and everything, and Home Depot's got a line down the street as people, they only let 20 people in the store at a time. I'm running like clockwork because I got my warehouse full. And so what happens is, you know, somebody sends the order through, it comes through Podio, you get a notification and it gets approved, and then they pull the order, and then you hit a button and the contractor automatically gets a text message. They come to the back of the building, hit the buzzer, back in, they're loaded, they're gone. There's no walking the aisles.
No wasting time, nothing. So, let me touch on this because, you know, I think this is super important. So you basically recognize, so again, you're pushing. You recognize, hey, man, I'm spending way too much money at Lowe's. I'm going to build a warehouse. I'll build it myself. Forget it. And I walked into your warehouse, and it wasn't just like a warehouse. It was like Lowe's, guys. Clean, painted. He's got a computer there with the SKUs and everything else. And basically what he did was he found a problem, created an amazing solution. So now the contractor doesn't have to go to Lowe's, doesn't have to pay retail price, doesn't have to worry about all this stuff. They basically get an order. They pull up to the back of your own facility. That gets loaded in their truck. Now they're on the job site. Think of the time, the energy, the money that gets saved across the board. What do you estimate, maybe percentage-wise, that you've saved by creating your own Lowe's versus using that supplier?
Well, I've been doing it now for 3 years, so it's millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars in
millions
the bank.
of dollars. And here's the other cool part. You know, the old trick that contractors do is when they give you a bid, they always say, and you start complaining, and they always say, hey, Matt, it's not my bid. It's not, my prices are cheap, but it's the material cost. Yep. It's the oil prices are too high back when it was oil, or China tariffs. They're always giving you a reason why the material prices are higher and they got to charge you more. So what happened was, I didn't even see this coming when I started buying my own materials at a discount, and no longer could the contractor bid the materials. They just bidding labor. My labor had to fall too, because they could no longer hide behind the material cost.
So it got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and better. So let me make a quick distinction here, because this is where on the business versus in the business. This is kind of the quintessential thing with Matt here that I've recognized. I had the same problem. Literally, I was Lowe's largest customer. Now I just spent $2.0 million. Where were we at, Hans? We were a few $100,000, and over here was actually, we were second largest customer. Then we became the largest customer. We had essentially the same problem. When I was doing it, not knowing much better or whatever, not thinking on the business, we would actually go to Lowe's. The contractor would meet us there. They would load up the thing, and then we would pay with our card, get our discount, whatever, and they would leave. That's still working in the business. It's a better solution than sending the contractor, but it's a stopgap measure. Matt decides to say, you know what? I'm going to take it a step further. I'm just going to go ahead and build my own facility, which then saved a whole bunch of money, which then created way more transparency, which then increased his revenue. So folks, a big distinction here. If you want to get to 30, 40 doors, 30, 40 flips a month, you want to get to 4,000, you have to create systems. I think, what's his name talks about people, product, and process. Marcus Lemonis, the three, right? Everybody has essentially the same product. We all buy and sell the same house, essentially. The process by which we do that, it's either going to make you McDonald's or the local hamburger shop. And then you said one other thing I want to touch on. You said, I have great people, and you give credit to them. A great leader hires great people and then gives them the credit. Mm-hmm. So you had to have the foresight, and I'm sure you didn't find the cheapest people. I'm sure you didn't just go looking for the cheapest talent. You found the right people for your organization, and that's why they're able to pivot. This is my thought. Am I wrong? Clarify that for me, because that's what a leader does, is he gives credit to people that are amazing, but you had to find them, pay them, hire them out of your own pocket first.
Yes. So I'm the guy that takes the risk. I come up with the ideas. I take the risk. But could I build an online store? Absolutely not. Could I program Podio? No way. I just hire really good people and I pay them really well. We do some unique stuff at my company. Find a property management company or find a real estate investment company that pays. We pay top wages, higher than top. We give everybody 401k. I mean, this just doesn't happen. We pay for their insurance, their health insurance. I pay for 100% of their life insurance. I mean, we just give all these benefits because I want to attract the best people I can find. If you have the best software on the planet, the most sophisticated software program, and the best automations on the software side on the planet, it means nothing if the person behind that pushing that button or not isn't an amazing person.
Dude, hold on. Those of you trying to cheap out on talent and labor, shame on you. I'm telling you, there's no way to build a company. Matt just gave you the gold, and the gold is at some point in your... Hey, it's Ben Humble. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what my guest is talking about and you're getting massive value from it, then scroll to the bottom, open up the description, and follow them on social media. Support them, connect with them. Just scroll down there, click the link, and let's roll. Stay humble.
So what really transpired from Matt of 2000, let's say 2008, 9, or 10, to Matt of 2017, 2016, was in 2010, I was asking how. How do I do this? How do I do that? How does this work? In 2017, I'm asking who.
Ooh.
Who can I find that could do that for me? Who could I find that could solve this problem for me? Who could I find that could build this system for me? And once you start asking who instead of how, watch the thing grow and scale by it. Almost automatically. I can tell you, my warehouse, I have people all over the country that fly in all the time. Like every month, somebody's flying in to look at this because they've never seen anything like it. And when they fly in, they say, how in the heck did you build it? And I don't tell them how. I just say who. Well, I got that guy to build the website. That person runs it. This person over here helped me with this. That person did Podio. I just figured out who, and I put almost no effort into it. So I could work really. Matt of 2010 worked 80, 90, 100 hours a week. Matt now works 5 hours a week on my real estate business because I started asking who.
Dude, sorry, I'm getting a little, I think I just blew up. Like, Mark says this a lot, our mentor, because we're in the same mastermind, right? Find the who that does the how. And you know what? When you truly are willing to pay for it, invest in it, and have the faith that it'll work out. See, the right people care about the work. The right people you can trust. The right people will do it with excellence, and they will do it better than you. So, Matt, as we kind of dude, this has been a powerful conversation. Extremely, extremely useful, folks. So for those of you that are here, make sure you've shared this. Make sure you go back and watch it. Make sure that, follow my man, Matt. And dude, you take this to the next level. I know right now that you're doing education stuff. You've got courses in relation to virtual assistants, which you're doing as well now. So you're automating even those kind of processes. So 2 questions. Number 1, if somebody's doing 1 deal a month or 2 deals a month, or that's kind of where their wheelhouse is, what do you think is the number 1 or maybe the top 2 things that they need to do to start really scaling their business? Where should their focus really be?
Super simple. Very, very easy solution. Doubling your business is very easy at 1 to 2 deals a month. It's actually easy at any level, really, but it gets a little harder as you get bigger. But that's super simple. Hire your first assistant, and I like to recommend virtual assistants. What happens is this. It's momentum busters. 1 to 2 deals a month. You are the system. So you work really hard. You send direct mail, you make cold calls, you do texting, leads come in. That lead comes in, you start sorting leads. Okay, is this a good deal? No, I got to run comps. Okay, no, that one didn't work out. Okay, this one's a decent deal. Okay, I'll follow up on that. Now you get it under contract, and now you're over here trying to sell it. Wait a minute, no leads coming anymore because you're the system, and you can't do leads and do the buyers and get it sold and follow the transaction coordination, and all of a sudden, no momentum. It stops. But physically, you're capable of doing 1 to 2, but you can't physically go any further than that. A really overachiever can do 4, maybe 4 to 5 deals a month by themselves. But in order to scale, you have to add more time in your week. Now, you have 2 choices in that. You can either work more hours or hand off the stuff that you're not good at, that you can pay somebody $2, $3, $4 an hour. A good virtual assistant from the Philippines we have 7 full-time virtual assistants, and they're amazing. They're not just good, they're amazing. They'll outwork anywhere. I mean, I don't care if you're American or where, they are amazing. So what you do is you hire a virtual assistant and you build amazing systems that they can follow, that you can plug them right into. Now, if you've had a bad experience with virtual assistants, I'm just telling you right now, it's not the virtual assistants, it's you. Hate to come at you straight like that, but it is you. Here's what I mean. If you buy a brand new computer, the top of the market, state-of-the-art computer that's got all the features and benefits, it's the fastest, most powerful computer on the planet, and you hire a crappy computer programmer to come in there and wrote a program, and he hits enter and the program crashes and doesn't run. It's not the computer's fault. It's the programmer's fault. Well, these virtual assistants are the computer. They're just there to take your system, your process. If your process is broken and it's missing a couple steps and they stumble and they can't figure something out, it's not their fault. They're just following directions. It's your fault because you didn't take the time to build the proper system in order to make them excel. That's where people go wrong. So that's why some people get started and they're like, I can't expand. No, everybody sucks. They're all terrible. Virtual assistants are terrible. No, it's you. You've got to figure that piece out. So one thing I did several months ago, I'm very big on education, like I told you, and I love virtual assistants. It's an unfair advantage. I mean, I've replaced people in my company making $15 to $20 an hour with somebody making $2 and $3 an hour, and I get a better result. It's better work. It's more robotic. It's better quality. It's faster. It's less discretion. So I've had such good success. I was like, man, I know all this about virtual assistants. We have all these working for us and they do amazing. They've taken all this complexity out of my life. They've helped me scale. And I started looking around for more, like, who else is using virtual assistants? Maybe I can buy information. So I would buy everybody's books that I could find, and it's all crap. It's all terrible. And I woke up one day and I'm like, wait a minute. I've got the best virtual assistant training on the planet. And I didn't even know it. We didn't try to build a product around it. So I just downloaded my processes. Again, it's the process. That's the program you get the virtual assistant. And I offered it for sale. And I put it together. It's like I've actually got a copy of it sitting right here. I put it together and I sold a few. I was just like, maybe we'll try it. It wasn't a product. It was just downloaded out of my vault where we keep all of our systems. And people started freaking out. They've just never seen anything like it because I'm so process oriented, so step by step. Most people sell you the ingredients. You need these ingredients, but they don't sell you the recipe. Okay, you've got to take this ingredient. You only need this much of it. You got to put it in first. Then you put this in second. Then you mix it together. Then you put it on this heat. And then you sit it and let it cook for this amount of time. Then you take it out. You got to let it cool. Like, that's the recipes.
Dude, that is so true. That is so true. Ingredients instead of the actual recipe. So you created this course. By the way, folks, if you're on this, you need to grab the course. Hans, throw it up on the screen real quick, because I know there's a link here where people can grab the course. Like, listen. You can go build this stuff yourself, folks. And I don't push other people's stuff, right? And like, unless it's people that I generally trust, care about, and think it's going to add massive value, there's no affiliate stuff. I'm not getting paid to be here. I like when people do amazing things. They really help other people, especially in the entrepreneur space. And Matt's that guy. So if you want to know what it's like to have a really tight process, and maybe it could really help you in your life, go and start right here. Just see how this man thinks, even for the exercise of understanding where does your mindset, how methodical do you need to be to scale? Because I think what's going to happen is you realize this is what you got to do if you want to get to 40 deals a month. And if you're not willing to do this, the reality is you need to pick a much smaller number and become more of a lifestyle kind of entrepreneur. Maybe that's not the right word here, but be okay with 5. Because if you got to go to 40, you got to deal with your lack of organization. You got to deal with your lack of detail orientation. So yeah, I think everybody needs to grab this course here for Matt, and obviously follow my dude. So Matt, dude, this has been such an inspirational conversation, because you're right. A lot of times we do talk about the ingredients, and I think you're giving people really a recipe. And there's a couple things I just want to touch on before we kind of wrap up today's conversation. So a couple things that people don't know is that you and Dean successfully, all this real estate education stuff. And every time you kind of had a new strategy, whatever, they would build a course around it. So you've actually already been in this education space for a long time as the kind of poster child, haven't you?
So kind of behind the scenes, 8-9 years ago, Dean stopped creating real estate education. And he's just like, dude, he's like, you're the guy doing all this education. I want you to create mine. So I just get a royalty. So for if you bought anything from Dean for the last 8-9 years, it was actually my stuff. A lot of it, my name's in there. You'll see it. But I stopped doing that maybe I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I just kind of stopped building that just because I lost interest in it. And then like, again, a few months ago, my real estate company's doing all these deals. They doesn't need my help. I'm only working 4, 5, 6 hours a week. And so I decided to start my own education back up again, which is why I offered some of the stuff for sale that we were already doing. I never really created products. I just took systems out of my company that we already built and packaged them up and made them look nice. So if anybody out there is interested in the virtual assistant stuff, I think it's the most powerful piece of leverage that you can do. Personally, when I hired my first assistant, my income doubled the very next year. Because one thing that, and I know we're running out of time, one thing that most people, they try to hire people that are like them, and that's the worst thing you can do. You literally need to define your weaknesses, write them down on a piece of paper. Everything you don't like to do or you're not good at, write those down on a piece of paper. That becomes your interview sheet for who you should be hiring. And then watch your production scale. But I also, real cool thing is I was able to sit down with Tony Robbins and actually coach Tony. I don't know if I ever told you that, Ben, or not, but I actually coached Tony for 3 days one-on-one. I was the teacher, he was the student, and he wanted to learn real estate, wanted to learn single family homes. So I taught Tony for 3 days, which was like,
dude, that's powerful. And you've done other things so one of Matt's big things, and we'll kind of, wrap with this, is that Matt goes to a lot of masterminds. You spend a lot of money. And I remember you telling me you've had dinner with some pretty significant people because you're willing to invest, right? Like you're not hoarding money these days. You're investing the money that you have to basically buy more time. You're building process, you're learning, you're hiring coaches. And what seems like, luck. This is the one conversation, folks. I need you to understand it's not about lucky. It's about a person who's essentially systematically going through life, investing in mentorships, investing in himself, being willing to commit when other people are fearful, being willing to go all in and burn the ships and basically like make it happen with no recourse, and it doesn't it's not holding him back here. And that's why he's doing 40, 50 deals and he's investing on the business. So it's like, when you look at it, everything is lining up, but it lines up for a reason. And I know a lot of my Canadian people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. I need this. Does it work for Canadians? Somebody's saying, Susan, in the comments. Susan, building your business works for Canadians. Now, is everything going to transfer over in terms of pulling a list and all this other stuff and every individual task from a VA? Maybe or maybe not. We don't have access to the same kind of information. But the truth is, somebody needs to still build the system. And it's not a one-off answer. A lot of times we're looking for an in-the-box answer to the solution. Like I checked the box, if I buy Matt's course, I'm a millionaire. That's not the point. The point is that it can help you leverage and grow. And absolutely, I agree with the 4-hour work week mindset, the Tim Ferriss mindset, your mindset about working on the business, creating a real company that's scalable, that you're actually building wealth, whereas so many people are just running around chasing money every day. So if you want to work 5 hours a week and do 40, 50 deals a month, frankly, you either need Matt on your team or you need to become Matt. Like, I think that's the only two ways, pal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you either have to become that super detail-oriented person, and the truth is you're never going to become that if it's not you. Then you need to go partner with somebody who can do that, and you need to take it to the next level. So some people need to actually hire a CEO and a COO for their company, and they need to go find something else to do that's their unique ability. Because if it's not systems and operational efficiencies, dude, when you go to see Matt's factory one time in his office facility, you're like, okay, this is what it takes to build an operation. So I very much admire you, man, because I think you've got one of those like super, almost like a patient, methodical, thoughtful process in life. And you're not skipping steps. You're not looking for shortcuts. You're just willing to go through line item by line item so that it becomes scalable and growth. So, dude, any last words for folks here that are, first of all, where can they follow you, dude? What's the best place for them to connect with you outside of the course?
Find me on Instagram, Real Estate Matt. And then my website's realestatematt.com. But if you message me, like I literally, like I'm one of those real people that if you message me on Instagram, I'll respond back to you. It's really me. It's not my team.
Not a bot. It's not a bot.
It's not a bot. Sometimes people they're like, "Hey, nice bot" or something. I'm like, "Hey, no, dude, it's really me. Like, I'm texting you right now." But they can reach out to me, ask me questions if you guys need. I'm always trying to share as much as I can. I try to post some cool stuff on stuff I'm doing, and it's fun. It's fun stuff.
Dude, awesome. I'm so thankful that you were on the show, folks. Dude, so good here. Folks at home, make sure you share the stream. Follow my man, Matt. This has been a powerful conversation about really scaling your business. I hope it's given you some confidence that you can absolutely do this. Hey, it's Ben Humble. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what my guest is talking about and you're getting massive value from it, then scroll to the bottom, open up the description, and follow them on social media. Support them, connect with them. Just scroll down there, click the link, and let's roll. Stay humble.
Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble, featuring daily episodes of the Humble Podcast and weekly video content providing motivation, real estate strategies, and personal development for everyday life. Also, follow Ben on Facebook and Instagram for daily interactions. Check out humble.ceo and download a chapter of Ben's new book, From Communism to Capitalism, absolutely free.